Hey, what's going on everyone? Matthew from therighttrader.com here. Today I'm going to be going over how to do fundamental analysis, and it's going to be a little guide on really how to perform fundamental analysis in the easiest way possible, because I don't think it has to be complicated and you really don't have to get into the details to be successful in having a fundamental thesis on a company. So we're going to be going over some stocks, and I'm just going to sort of guide you along throughout this whole thing. And I'm going to start off by just giving you my personal opinions on fundamental analysis, and also if it works or not, right? Because there are some people who are full technical analysis and some people who only use fundamental analysis. So there's a little bit of controversy on the two subjects. But at first I fell into the trap of everyone promoting like hardcore due diligence and stuff, and I realized that it just doesn't work. At least for me, I found that you just can't compete with big banks and institutions who have plenty of information, more than the average retail investor will ever have. It just doesn't make sense, right? It's too time consuming and it's just not logical. So I stopped using fundamental analysis completely for a while and used only technical analysis, which worked pretty well. But I do feel like, and I found that you do need to use some fundamental analysis to be successful in trading and investing. It's just necessary to not fall into the wrong stocks, to pay attention to some of the foundations of a company. So I do think it works, and I do also think that it's best to combine it with some technical analysis. But if you just want to use sort of the basic fundamentals and you do it right, that's honestly enough in my book. So now I'm going to go through how to do fundamental analysis in the easiest way possible. And yeah, I'm just going to show you how I go about doing that. So first off, the first thing that I like to pay attention to is the market cap of a company, right? The market capitalization of a company, and see, is it over or undervalued, at least in my book. And with this type of stuff, I really go just based sort of on instincts. And you kind of feel for which companies you truly believe in, and that's kind of the way to go about it, in my opinion. So as you can see here, Apple has a $819 billion market cap, right? That's a really, really large market cap. Some might say it's overvalued, but obviously Apple is a valuable company. So this would be hard to say. I guess you could say, you can really make the case for both. I would just say that it's maybe like a fair valuation, right? For obviously the biggest company in the world. So I personally maybe wouldn't be as keen on investing in Apple for my personal financial goals. But let me move over to Tesla, right? Here we have and you can go on my channel and watch my video on why I'm bullish on Tesla and why I think it's one of the better stocks to invest in long term. But yeah, if you pay attention to the market cap of Tesla, it is actually pretty low compared to, obviously, look how big Apple is, right? It's sitting nowhere near the range of Apple. And you'll quickly see companies that are sort of, I guess you could say overvalued. It's kind of a tricky thing to say, but let's see. Pulled up Facebook here. Facebook has a huge market cap, right? And it's not really even a question of maybe overvalued or undervalued, but it's more of a question of how much can it still go? How much room does it have to grow, right? And I mean, maybe Facebook could double over the next few years, but it's a big market cap, right? Same thing with Alibaba, huge market cap, right? There's not that much more room to grow in companies like Apple, Facebook, Alibaba. So that is something to pay attention to. And let me just check Amazon also for the sake of this comparison. Amazon is pretty big. I think that Amazon is a company that still has a bit more room to grow. But yeah, like Tesla, for example, right? Here's an example of a company who really still has room to grow, right? You saw the other market caps of the other companies, right? Around 500 billion. Tesla's only at 64 billion, right? It could easily double, at least. So that's sort of what you have to be looking for. Just pay attention to where the company is at in the stage of its life and the valuation. Okay, it's honestly pretty basic stuff. Next, will the company still exist in the future, right? Sort of the stability of the company. Now, for example, for Tesla, I guess you could say the stability of the company could be questionable, right? It does experience some volatility, but Apple, for example, super stable company, right? There's nothing really to worry about, and that's a good thing. Also, will the company, like I said, still exist in the future? Apple, I don't see that going anywhere anytime soon, right? They've completely, they have total control over the, like, sort of personal electronics, the personal electronics market, right? It's not going anywhere. Tesla, I think same thing. Is Tesla gonna disappear from one day to the next? I don't think so, right? It's obviously gonna grow over the next few years. Amazon, same thing. It's not going anywhere, right? So that's obviously a really good thing to pay attention to. If you see a company that's sort of like falling off, right, like Radio Shack, a couple years ago, and obviously now they went bankrupt. That's obviously like a sign that you have to be careful, right? It's probably not worth investing in over the long term, or even trading for that matter, because this also goes for trading where you want to be trading a company that's sort of stable and that won't just have like a major drama every other week, right? That's just not a good and safe way to trade a stock, especially like, for example, Valiant is a stock that went through a lot of drama, and trading that stock would be a bit of a mess, right? Because of how much volatility and controversy is around it. So, I mean, that's just my opinion, but and based on my experience, it's just easier to trade companies that are not surrounded by as much drama and controversy. So next up, I want to go over a really important one that's also pretty basic. Is the CEO smart, and is he working towards a good cause that he or she is truly cares about? And I think this is really important because there may be some CEOs out there that are smart, but maybe just completely money hungry. And I think it is important that the CEO is actually working towards a cause that he truly cares about, right? A bigger purpose. And also, it's always best if the CEO is the actual founder of the company. Okay, so Apple, for example, right, used to have the legendary, CEO Steve Jobs, who obviously really cared about the company's bigger purpose, and he was able to make great things happen, right? Elon Musk, same thing. I mean, it's sort of, these legendary CEOs do tend to outperform other companies because they actually want to make the company succeed. They have more invested in it, and they're truly working on fulfilling their bigger purpose that they're trying to achieve with their company. Okay, so that's a really important thing to care about, and you realize that the CEOs like Zuckerberg, Jeff Bezos, the list goes on, they do actually make things happen compared to other CEOs who have I guess less of an attachment to their company. Okay, so do pay attention to that. Next up is, have people overreacted to an event or news regarding the stock? Okay, and what I mean by that is fear mongering. This is super common in the stock market. There's some manipulation that goes on, and you do have to pay attention to this type of stuff because you can get caught in a bad situation if you don't. And it also allows you to get in on some really nice pullbacks when you pay attention to this kind of stuff, right? Buy low, sell high. You don't want to be buying when there's a bunch of hype. You want to be buying when there's been some kind of overreaction to the downside, probably, okay? So, for example, I pulled up Tesla here because I wanted to show you this great buying opportunity that happened about a year ago when, as you can see, the stock was around $200, and it dropped all the way down to $150, right? This was a great opportunity to get the stock at a discount. And as you can see, I mean, it just kept going up because the company is good, in my opinion. And here, you really could, if you truly believed in the company and you saw this drop and you saw why it dropped, the reason why it dropped, if I recall correctly, was because there was some fear with some Teslas catching fire. And, you do have to pay attention to the sources when there's this kind of news, because sometimes it's some shady sources, which could even be like false rumors, right? So pay attention to rumors and stuff like that. Usually, as a rule of thumb, I would say most rumors in the stock market just turn out to be false. So that's something to know. But here, I guess it was real that some Teslas were catching fire, but it wasn't like as big as a deal that the news was making it out to be, right? The news and medias like to sort of catastrophize things a little bit. So if you were able to notice that it was an overextended move, it wasn't reasonable for the stock to drop that much, right? Losing billions of dollars in market cap probably, just because there was a couple incidents of accidents with fire with Tesla cars. You could have got it at a really nice discount, right? So pay attention to that kind of stuff. It is absolutely critical. Like it's a great way to be successful in the stock market. Next up, does the company have a nice cash reserve? Okay, so here we can go back to Apple. As you guys know, Apple has, I think, the biggest cash reserve in the world, right? They have billions and billions, hundreds of billions of dollars in cash. And you know, cash is king in this industry, so it's really important. I think Tesla also has more cash than people believe. So, and you see that they're still pulling through. Twitter, for example, even though the company has been having some issues, does have quite a bit of cash, and that really helps the company sustain itself even in the bad times. Okay, that's something to really pay attention to. Next up, will the business keep growing? Okay, so for example, with Apple, like I said, huge market cap. A lot of the growth has been maxed out, I guess you could say, but obviously there still is some growth, and the business model is absolutely excellent. So yes, there will still be growth, right? Maybe not as much as a company like Tesla, where the expansion and the opportunities to grow are massive, right? So pay attention to that. There may be some companies who are completely maxed out on their growth, right? Who can almost only go down from where they are. Okay, so that's really important to pay attention to. Next, will the business be well placed in the future compared to its competitors? So this is a perfect example for Tesla, okay? Tesla is the industry leader when it comes to electric cars. They have the superchargers, they have the technology. They're way ahead of the game compared to everyone else, right? Other car companies that are trailing behind, right? With like self-driving technology and just the technology overall. And Tesla, for example, is in a great place compared to its competitors, right? And they have sort of a first mover advantage, so they're going to be able to benefit from that. Okay, if you look at a company like I don't know, BMW, who has been kind of trailing behind, they've been kind of struggling, right, with their electric cars. That's obviously not the best of signs. Okay, so pay attention to stuff like that. Next up, I just wanted to say that based on all of the things that I went over, you sort of have to create your own fundamental thesis and judge, is this worth investing in or not, right? You went over all these basics, and now you can kind of make your opinion on, is it worth, and is it safe enough to put my money in, okay? So that's obviously your call, but this is just the things that I like to go over to make that decision. And just to go back real fast and mention, as you saw, this is really not complicated stuff. Anyone can do this, which I think is great. And a lot of people will go into the details, right, with statistics and metrics, like price to book and all that stuff. And it's not that stuff isn't valuable, but if you don't really know what you're doing, and most people just don't know what they're doing when it actually comes down to true fundamental analysis, I guess you could say, you're not going to win. You're not going to outbeat the people who actually know what they're doing and who have more information than you. So it's just not gonna work out. Yeah, that's sort of my reasoning behind that. So, but that's pretty much it. That's all I'm gonna go over in this video. If you like this video, make sure to leave a like. Make sure to subscribe for more stock trading and investing tutorials and videos. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. See you next time.